Have you been able to bring to Hothead Burritos friends of yours who are veterans? Has it become popular with the veteran community?
As far as customers
Uh,
or
Franchisees, but
franchisee?
customers too. I think that they
Yeah,
want to be loyal
no,
to.
not currently. I've really, up until you and I have talked about it, never really thought about the correlation between veterans and franchising. But it really makes a lot of sense for all the reasons we discussed.
Welcome to the Franchise Hot Seat Podcast, where we talk about all things franchising. Now, here's your host, Dr. John P. Hayes.
We're back with another episode of the Franchise Hot Seat Podcast, and I am John Hayes. I'm a professor of franchising at Palm Beach Atlantic University, West Palm Beach, Florida. We offer a concentration in franchising, which is unique as far as we know in education. We don't think there's another university anywhere that offers a concentration in franchising where young people, old people, people who just want to get into franchising can come and learn academically about franchising. And today, my guest is a veteran. Franchising and veterans are a great combination. And so that's the topic today. Bob McCracken, who is in the Air Force, in the Air National Guard. He's based in Columbus, Ohio. He is my guest. Bob, welcome to my podcast.
Thanks, John. It's good to be here.
And you are a franchisee of Hothead Burritos. You have one unit now. You had 3 units, but you closed 2 during COVID. And let's talk about veterans and why do they make great franchisees? Why would you as a veteran think, well, when I finish my service to my country, which we thank you for, by the way, Bob, should have done that right away, why franchising? How would that interest you?
I think franchising suits veterans well. In your time in the service, you learn a culture of paying attention to detail, following along with the right. When you do a franchise, you have a plan to follow. And being in the military, you're always learning you're always focused on following a plan. So it's that discipline of following plans and paying attention to little details.
Yeah, I think that key word is discipline. That's what you learn when you're in the service. And discipline, not maybe in the same context, exists in franchising, but there is that relationship where you are given a system and you're expected to follow the system. And people who follow the system the way the franchisor has created it will usually become successful as business operators. It's not always the case, but you have a better case. So discipline is a good word to use. Everybody doesn't like that word, discipline. I don't want to be disciplined, or I don't want to be a disciplined person. Then maybe you got to think about you don't want to be in business, because if you're going to be successful in business, you're going to have certain disciplines that you're going to adhere to. And a friend, a former client of mine, Don Dwyer, unfortunately deceased way too many years ago, but he was not a pioneer in franchising, but a pioneer in some ways, particularly for veterans. He was a veteran, and he knew what you and I just talked about. Veterans have the skills and the abilities and the mindset to become good franchisees. And when Don became a franchisor of Rainbow International Carpet Cleaning out of Waco, Texas, and this was in the early years yet of franchising in 1980, franchising had already been well established in the 50s, particularly with fast food restaurants, but service businesses weren't quite as popular at the time, and cleaning carpets didn't seem like that was going to be a major business, but Don turned Rainbow into a major business. It's now Rainbow Water and Fire Restoration, so it's developed through the years as a tremendous business. And Don knew that veterans could be good operators of businesses. And one day we were at a meeting, and he always had great ideas, and some of them weren't great, but he always had ideas. And he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get the SBA, and I was a marketing, public relations, do whatever Don needed me to help him do. He was my client. And he said, I want you to get the SBA and the International Franchise Association, the IFA, and I want you to bring together a program that's going to benefit veterans. This was at the time of the first Gulf War, and we knew that veterans were going to come back, service men and women were going to come back, and we're going to need jobs, we're going to need opportunities. And Don wanted, everybody who wanted to own a business should own a business, and he wanted to show you how to do that in franchising. And he not only had Rainbow at this time, he had other businesses as well. And again, they were mostly related to services that would be provided at home. Mr. Electric, for example, Glass Doctor to come and replace your windows. These were businesses over a period of time that the Dwyer Group had as among the opportunities that they could sell, not just to veterans, but to everyone who was interested in that particular niche. So he said, get these folks together and let's get free loans for veterans, and let's get discounts for veterans on the franchise fee, and let's help veterans get into business less expensively. We owe that to them. We owe them this opportunity. And that was a big order to get SBA to agree to give free loans. They never did do that, by the way. They said, we'll support this, we'll be helpful, the banks will be helpful, and of course the International Franchise Association would be helpful, but it's not going to be free. It's up to franchisors to decide if they want to discount their franchise fee because they're getting a veteran, and that turned out to be a very smart thing to do. That was the beginning of a program called the Veterans Transition Franchise Initiative, VetFran. And it became very popular, still is today, so that any veteran of the armed services can go to vetfran.com or to the International Franchise Association, that's franchise.org, and they will find information about VetFran. And any franchisor not supporting VetFran, come on, what's wrong? They don't have to, they're not giving the businesses away, but they are giving a discount to veterans. Could be 50% off the franchise fee, 10% off the franchise fee. There could be certain equipment, certain supplies. There are advantages to veterans, and more veterans need to know about this so that they could take advantage of it. Thousands of veterans and their families have become franchisees because of VetFran. So it's a great opportunity. And it's something that you, Bob, as a veteran, should share with your friends who are veterans, because as they come out of the service, here's an opportunity for them to save money and to get a good start. We know that Don Dwyer used to say, well, we want veterans because, number one, they know how to get up and get out of bed in the morning and early in the morning. And number two, they make their bed, and they do it really well. And number three, they know how to put their boots on and tie their boots. Nobody has to tell them what to do. And they show up and they're ready for business. And that's the kind of person that makes a great franchisee. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I would agree 100% on that. I believe that veterans learn very quickly when you go in the military that you have to follow those rules. You're up early in the morning. You're disciplined about that, conscientious about what you're doing, and what you need to have if you're going to run your own business. You can't just say, gee, I'm not going in this morning. Everybody's counting on you. And that's something veterans learn very quickly, that they're counted on by their teammates. And that is a fundamental to owning your own business.
So why did you select Hothead Burritos? What was the attraction for you?
I was looking for something that was on the path up, not necessarily an established franchise, but something that could grow. I felt that there was a lot of opportunity in the fast casual Mexican business. Chipotle obviously is the big dog in that, and I felt like just sort of where franchising was with hamburgers and cheeseburgers back in the 70s and 80s, that they needed stronger competition and that there were other concepts out there, and I really like the concept of the a matter of choices, and that you could it was more customized than the customization and the sauces were the key to what Hotheads does.
And you started out, did you start with 3 units or did you have 1 and build up to 3, then COVID hits and you're back to 1?
Yeah, I started with 1, and we had it back in 2013. It had it started off really well. We then opened a second store and purchased a third store from another franchisee not too long after that. And then COVID hit and really, really hurt the stores, and also we were struggling operating 3 stores at that time too. And then you add in COVID, where it was really hard to find help, and that ended up being the end of that. But now we have 1 store, operates very well. I'm very happy with it. It's doing excellent. So that has been a good transition in the long run.
Have you been able to bring to Hothead Burritos friends of yours who are veterans? Has it become popular with the veteran community?
As far as customers? Or
franchisees, but
franchisees.
Customers too. I think they want to be loyal.
No, not currently. I've really, up until you and I have talked about it, never really thought about the correlation between veterans and franchising. But it really makes a lot of sense for all the reasons we discussed.
Yes, I think we need to do a better job in franchising of letting veterans know that they don't have to come back to just a job. If that's what they want, that's great. And it may be a job within their family business, or a job that they left and they want to go back to. But they don't have to do that, because there are opportunities for veterans to become business owners. Thousands of veteran families across the United States are franchisees today because of the VetFran program, which was created by Don Dwyer, the late Don Dwyer. And I think that not every franchisor supports that, unfortunately. They should. Why not reward our veterans for protecting our country and for providing the American free enterprise lifestyle that we all benefit from here in America? But not every franchisor participates in the program. I don't know why. I can't imagine anyone saying they're not going to do that. And it might be on the low end, maybe 10% off a franchise fee. But if you're paying a $50,000 franchise fee and you get some discount, that's important. Most of them are much better than that, stronger than that. They'll go 25, 50%. There are franchisors who have given free franchise fees, given away the franchise fee to veterans to reward them. So it's well worth it for veterans to look into the list of franchisors that support veterans and buy those franchises that do support veterans. It just makes sense. And for guys like you and others who are veterans and now franchisees, to be able to go out into the community and share that information with veterans. I'm sure you impact with other veterans and perhaps people who, do you do any recruiting for the armed services?
No, I haven't. In my younger days, I did some. I always would talk to my friends about how the service was a great experience and helped shape me. I was a young man when I went into the Air Force and then transitioned to the Air National Guard, and at the time didn't know what I wanted to do, and was just searching for what myself. I mean, what drove me into the Air Force was that my father was a World War II veteran and served his country, and I felt I should too. And that was very important to me, to serve my country as my father did in World War II. And it was a great experience. I went into the Air Force right after Vietnam, met many Vietnam veterans, and also had the experience when I was in the Air National Guard of, I lived about an hour away from our base and drove in with a gentleman, Charlie Miller, who was a Chief Master Sergeant, who had also served in World War II, and learned a lot about life and about how to manage yourself during that time.
The GI Bill has also provided opportunities for young people to get good education. And I have been very happy that, in fact, I just, in a course that I taught just recently at the MBA level, had a veteran who was finishing up his education and looking at business ownership and looking at franchises and taking advantage of the VetFran program. And I have a young man in my undergraduate program who is a Marine and finishing his education and starting a business that's not a franchise, but related to franchising. There are lots of supplier businesses, lots of needs that franchisors and franchisees have that aren't supplied by franchise-specific businesses, but by businesses that provide these services or the needs of franchisors and franchisees. So he's doing that. So it's great to see people who have discipline and who have a sense about them of how to carry themselves and the importance of what they're doing, and most of all, believing that a system provides value. As in franchising, we know everything is about the system. Not every franchise company has a good system. This is one of the things people need to find out in advance. Does the franchisor provide a system that they support, they train to it, and that if you use that system day in and day out, you are going to be successful? That's not true of every franchise brand that's out there, even though they may want you to believe that and to invest in them. But the best ones, that's why they're successful. People who follow those systems. And the people who are most likely to follow a system is a U.S. veteran. And Bob, once again, we thank you for your service, and best of luck to you as you continue to develop your franchise career and bring your fellow veterans into franchising.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate you having me today.
Good luck to you, Bob. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Franchise Hot Seat Podcast with Dr. John P. Hayes. Tune in next time for more conversation around all things franchising.